10 o'clock news starts now.
An exceptional student from a well-to-do neighborhood. For a short time, she was the focus of a missing person case. Tonight, she's at the center of a murder mystery. Who killed her and why? Good evening. More in a moment on the murder that has one town on Long Island in tears. First, to a story at Newark Airport, one that had a plane load of passengers cooling their heels.
The popping sound on an Air France jet is usually champagne, but tonight it was a piece of luggage blowing apart. Penny Crone is at Newark to tell us what happened next. Penny.
Air France flight 003 has finally taken off. For the past 4.5 hours, it has sat on a runway right behind us, while the FBI and the cops went over that flight with a fine-tooth comb. Air France passengers had a big scare late this afternoon. A suitcase exploded on the baggage conveyor belt.
It's making a lot of people feel uncomfortable because of what happened to with the Florida flight, the Value Jet. And it's always like an international flight. You're always worried about terrorism.
I heard a big bang when I thought it was just a piece of machinery or something. It was like about 10 to 15 minutes before we got on.
Flight 003 was scheduled to depart for Paris at 5:20 this afternoon. As soon as the luggage blew, everyone was evacuated from this giant aircraft. All of the luggage was laid out on the runway, and the plane was surrounded by emergency vehicles and the FBI.
I feel a little uneasy about getting on the flight. Yeah.
As the passengers claimed their luggage, it came to pass a Frenchman noticed one of his bags missing. The mysterious explosion was then solved.
It appears that it was a aerosol can. That's what they're looking at right now, the police, in a bag that ruptured. No evidence at all of any kind of a criminal act.
Took off fine, and the man with the exploding suitcase, he was reportedly on it. Reporting live from Newark Airport, I'm Penny Crone, Fox News. Now back to you, Rosanna.
Okay, thank you, Penny. Police say they didn't want to take any chances. That's why they held up the plane's departure until they could make a complete search.
Well, another plane crashed in South Florida, this time a small homemade plane. It fell from the sky in Pembroke Pines, bounced off the roof of a house and crashed into a street. Nobody in the house was hurt. The pilot's in critical condition. No word yet on what caused his plane to crash. And searchers in the Florida Everglades found evidence of soot on pieces of that Value Jet that went down on Saturday. That could mean there was an explosion in the cockpit before the crash. They found one black box, but they are still looking for the cockpit voice recorder. All 109 people on board that plane were killed. And some frightening moments on a charter flight from Kennedy Airport to Santo Domingo, a Miami Air jet, a 737, 120 people on board. Pilot had to make an emergency landing in Norfolk, Virginia when the cabin lost pressure. No one was badly hurt, few bloody noses. No word yet on what caused that problem.
Parents on Long Island who were preparing for their daughter's graduation are getting ready to bury her now. She was murdered. Her friends say she was just so young with so much talent. Una Kwan reports from East Northport, Long Island.
Murder seems as incongruous to this quiet, affluent neighborhood as the victim herself, a pretty, vivacious 16-year-old who was graduating early from John Glenn High. But someone, for some reason, killed Kristen Scarabelli while her parents were away for the weekend. They returned home late Sunday night.
She was not home that time, but that was not believed to be particularly unusual. And their impression was that she was probably staying with friends.
But she wasn't out staying with friends. Police dogs helped find her body today, hidden in some shrubbery in a yard just a few doors down from her own home. Neighbors told police they heard screams coming from the house Sunday night. Another reported seeing a struggle on the front lawn, but no one called police that night. In fact, her family didn't even realize anything was wrong until the next morning. That's when they called and reported her missing. While police aggressively hunt for evidence, they're trying to separate fact from rumor. Among reports they're checking into, a possible boyfriend, someone in the neighborhood. What they do know is there was no forced entry into the house and nothing was taken. Friends are numb, her school in shock.
There were a lot of people crying. They had a big faculty meeting after, and they canceled school activities.
It's just sad. Just somebody you knew, was gone. She's just so young.
In this season of proms and graduations, a 16-year-old is dead. Even answers to the questions of who did it and why will be of little comfort to her family. In East Northport, Long Island, Una Kwan, Fox News.
An autopsy is being conducted to find out the cause of death. A homeless man is being charged with trying to rob the Grand Rebbe of the Satmar Hasidic sect. Police say Robert Johnson broke into the home of Rabbi Moshe Teitelbaum. The rabbi didn't know he was there, but a neighbor who saw the whole thing called police. A community patrol group caught Johnson a few blocks from the rabbi's home.
Well, a car accident turned deadly and a little boy is dead. It's sad proof that what they tell us is true. You must wear your seatbelt if you expect an airbag to work properly. Anita Padilla reports.
Salim Sullivan's toys go untouched today. The 7-year-old boy was tragically killed Monday evening in a car accident that nearly took off his head. Today, his mother is in shock.
I'm just feeling very upset. I mean, I just can't get over this because, baby, you know, this just shouldn't have happened.
It was a terrible sight at the intersection of 7th Avenue and West 135th Street. In fact, it was too much even for seasoned rescue workers. Salim was a passenger in his Aunt Gertrude's 96 Ford Contour. She's seen here in this photo. The two were traveling southbound on 7th Avenue when a northbound Lincoln turned in front of them. Early in the day, the police department thought the airbag's plastic housing had decapitated Salim. They're still investigating, but preliminary reports say the child was not belted in. Salim's mom disagrees and says people should know about the dangers of airbags.
This could happen to somebody else's kids, and it's supposed to be there to help stop people from getting killed, and this is like ain't doing nothing. This was a brand new car.
I bet you didn't know that an airbag deploys at 200 miles per hour. And if you think about it, that sort of force going one way and the force of a child propelled the other way, well, it can make for deadly consequences.
They want to have their child sitting next to them. They think that's kind of safer for them. But in reality, the safer way for that child is to be in the back seat.
In fact, Ford Motor Company released a lengthy statement today. In it, they remind motorists that the majority of serious injuries and the small number of deaths attributable to airbags have occurred to occupants who are unbelted or improperly restrained. They say everyone, especially kids, should always wear safety belts. Anita Padilla, Fox News.
And the little boy's Anna was driving the car is in Harlem Hospital. She's being treated for shock.
An investment banker is paying the drunken price for a disgusting scene he caused on an airplane. Gerard Finneran got 2 years probation and a $5,000 fine. Prosecutors say he defecated on a food cart, but Finneran denies it. He says he had an accident during a bad case of diarrhea and the bathrooms were occupied. Subway gunman Bernie Goetz is occupying time counting his net worth, and it's in the negative numbers. He's got liabilities of $60 million. Most of that's the $43 million judgment Darrell Cabey won against Goetz for getting shot by him. Goetz lists his assets at about $17,000. The bulk of it is about $10,000 in electrical testing equipment. Then there's the $245 he has at home. Don't forget the $100 chinchilla and the $30 guinea pig. For Jack Kevorkian, 3 is his lucky number. For the 3rd time, he was acquitted of assisted suicide charges. Dr. Kevorkian says judgment by his peers is what helped him beat the rap.
The jury is what saved us. I am so grateful, and I understand now the value of a jury system. Without that, tyranny would have won.
Kevorkian says the only thing that'll stop him now is being burned at the stake.
Well, around here, cops are looking for a couple of bold bandits, and teachers are looking for an end to their contract battle. You just give me a New York Minute. A couple from Israel may never order room service again. They were staying at the Wentworth Hotel when bandits claiming to be room service barged in and handcuffed them. They made off with $30,000 in cash and close to $1 million worth of jewels.
Why, when the price goes down at the wholesale level, does the price at the pump not go down as quickly as it went up?
Congressman Charles Schumer says gas prices aren't adding up right. He says while wholesale prices have dropped a nickel, prices at area pumps have gone up a nickel. He's looking for answers from Washington. There's another tentative agreement for a new teacher's contract, but will this one make union members happy? They voted down the last one. The president feels confident this one will pass. Peggy Fleming, the Olympic gold medal ice skater, joined Mayor Giuliani in declaring this Osteoporosis Awareness Week. The city has published a guide for anyone who wants information about the disease. A new fragrance was unveiled, Fifth Avenue by Elizabeth Arden. Amber Valletta is the spokesmodel. She calls the new scent chic. And that's a New York Minute.
We have a programming note. Stay tuned for our special report tonight at 10:30. It's called Navigating New York. We'll analyze why it takes so long to get from here to there. That's at 10:30 tonight.
You can't get from here to there in this town anymore.
Not anymore.
Rosanna. But listen, can Doc Gooden get to a no-hitter? He's almost there. He threw 8th innings. We'll have that for you coming up, and lots more in this half hour. You just saw Eric Roberts in Doctor Who, but he's been more like Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, the ups and downs of Julia's big brothers coming up.
Plus, so many bottled waters out there. How can you really know what's in that stuff? Well, some new rules should provide some answers. Bob.
Who would deny a terminally ill teenager his dying wish? Outraged animal activists. That's who. I'll have that story coming up. Nick?
Bob, we had beautiful weather today, sunshine out there, and there are some clouds building off to our west, but it's not going to ruin the weather in the short term, but eventually down the road we do have some problems coming our way. I'll tell you when, coming up. Right now, here's your new Dodge Tri-State Commuters forecast for tomorrow.
The news is brought to you by the new Dodge. See your local Dodge dealer today.
Dodge Viper GTS is the official pace car of this year's Indianapolis 500, which is appropriate since Dodge is also setting the pace on the streets. And right now, Dodge is picking up that pace by offering you a choice of $1,000 cash back or more, or low 1.9% financing on select Dodge cars, which could make Dodge the official pace car of your driveway. See the friendly Dodge dealer near you.
Join the birthday bash.
So like you were alive in the 50s?
Roseanne, tomorrow at 6:30 p.m. on Fox 5.
Coming up, Fox Business opens the door on a secret government project, and O.J. Simpson fields some scholarly questions.
On any given day, you'll find couples at the park enjoying the benefits of ultra-clean propane, one of the alternative transportation fuels from Phillips Petroleum. Cleaner air. That's what it means to be the Performance Company.
Performance, convenience, and money management expertise. Isn't it time you had Fidelity Investments working for you?
A teenager's dying wish is being granted, but there's a twist to this story. What the boy wants has a few people hitting the ceiling, but there's nothing they can do about it. Bob O'Brien is in our newsroom right now with the latest on this bear hunting controversy. Bob.
Well, none of the 37,000 last requests granted by the Make-A-Wish Foundation to dying youngsters has caused the anguished outcry produced by a terminally ill Minnesota teenager's wish. The 17-year-old boy named Eric has a brain tumor that will cost him his life. But Eric's dying wish is to hunt and kill an Alaskan Kodiak bear, a magnificent animal that sustains itself by swiping salmon from streams. The Make-A-Wish Foundation sent Eric and his dad on the $4,000 hunting trip last weekend.
He's going to have a great time. He's going to have a wonderful wish, and we wish him all the best of luck.
Responding to the outrage of animal rights groups, actor Pierce Brosnan gave Eric an alternative to the bear hunt. The newest James Bond offered Eric a week's visit to the Idaho set of the next Bond flick. But Eric is intent on bagging a bear, a concept that has the planet's premier protector of animals, Cleveland Amory, cringing at what may be happening now in Alaska.
Usually the method is to use dogs to tree the bears, and then the bear gets up a tree and then they blast away. And it's not a pretty sight. It's a messy, cruel, rotten death.
Should the dying teenager be allowed to bag a bear? A sample of New York opinions.
A foreign hunter gave up his permit for this boy to have that opportunity. There's nothing wrong with this whatsoever.
He should be allowed to track it and just not kill it.
Make-A-Wish Foundation says its commitment is to let the dying boy and his family pursue that boy's dream. John?
All right, thanks, Bob. The Make-A-Wish Foundation also says it's given hunting trips in the past, but this is the only one that's caused any controversy. Rosanna?
John, if you don't trust the tap, you probably drink a lot of bottled water. But do you know where that water comes from? Soon enough, you will. The industry actually asked the FDA to regulate bottled water. New labels must say whether the water is sparkling, purified, spring, or mineral water, or whether it comes right out of the tap. If you snore, watch your weight. Researchers say snorers gain a few more pounds around the waist compared to quiet sleepers. The study focused on serious snorers, those who suffer from sleep apnea, a condition where you stop breathing for a few seconds. Those people often don't get enough sleep at night and are too tired to do too much during the day, so they end up putting on weight. The study focused on older men over a 3-year period.
Well, I'll tell you, nobody was snoring on Wall Street. Another good day thanks to good news about inflation and lower interest rates. The Dow closed up 42 points. Winning stocks beat the losers on the big board by a margin of 7-4. The price per share was up a quarter. On the Amex, the price per share was up 9 cents. The index there was up 3.5 points. Tech stocks still on a roll. The Nasdaq had a good day. The index there was up over 12.5 points. Last night on Fox Business News, we gave you a peek at the Greenbrier, a luxurious resort nestled in the hills of West Virginia. Actually, it's what's under that resort that's so interesting. It used to be a secret. Not anymore. It was a fallout shelter for Congress, just in case. Behind this fake wall is a terrifying reality. It's the fallout shelter that was a closely guarded secret for 3 decades. It's where the House and Senate would carry on during a thermonuclear war.
You always hoped that it would never be used, but you always prepared like it was going to be used the next moment.
Fritz Bugas ran the shelter when it was a secret. Now it's a tourist attraction. For years, only his wife knew the truth.
She was briefed on the project. She knew that there was a government facility located here at the Greenbrier and that I would be working down here as the manager of the project.
He told his 7 children he worked for Forsyth Associates. That was a shell company. Sometimes, though, they would hear rumors.
My friend at school said that you worked for the government or that you worked in a bomb shelter. I would say I can't very well control what your friend says, but I can simply tell you that I'm the manager of Forsyth Associates.
If the bomb had already gone off, this is one of the entrances Congress would have used. The sign says high voltage to discourage the curious. You'd pass through one of the decontamination units and take off your clothes. They would be burned. Then through these showers to pick up your fatigues at this window. Through this door is the main hall where the command center would be set up. You'd be allowed to bring a spouse and 2 children under the age of 18. This is where you would sleep. This is where you would eat. And this is where the leadership would address the nation on television and radio. Here's where they kept the guns, ammo, and truncheons to keep order and help secure the perimeter. An elaborate power plant and clean water supply ensured survival for months without having to go out into the contaminated air. Canned food was stacked along these walls. An entire hospital was built underground, complete with operating rooms and a pharmacy. The shelter was revealed by the Washington Post back in 1992. Since the shelter was not designed to survive a direct hit, the government decided to shut it down last year. But has it been replaced?
I would certainly hope in this day and age that someplace out there one does exist.
By the way, last year, Fritz finally told his children the truth. Their friends at school were really right about that shelter all along. And that's tonight's Fox Business Report.
Actor Eric Roberts knows all about the ups and downs of stardom. You saw him tonight when Fox brought back Doctor Who. And as Tony Potts reports, Roberts is glad to be back in the spotlight.
Once hailed as Hollywood's brightest star,
you gotta terrorize them once in a while just to keep them in line, know what I mean?
Eric Roberts has traveled a rocky road from stardom to B-movies and a drug addiction.
Eric Roberts has had a number of problems in the past. He burst onto the acting scene and everyone went, wow. But then his drug problem took over. He had a spousal abuse problem. He just was really out of control.
You like to live dangerously, don't you?
Little Danger never killed anybody.
Arrest for drug possession, resisting arrest, and assaulting his wife didn't help his image. He tells this month's Premiere magazine that he smoked pot almost every day for 25 years. Now, clean and sober Eric is talking about his new life and relationships.
You don't have a personal life when you have a full-time career. You don't have a personal life. My wife and I still moments, go kiss and hug and eat dinner together, and then it's like back to work. And The only thing I regret is the time I don't have to spend with my daughter.
Eric's famous sister, Julia, has shut him out of her life for years now. He was even conspicuously absent from her wedding to Lyle Lovett in 1993. He admits their rift is his fault.
It's been several years since Eric Roberts has even spoken to his sister Julia. They had a falling out, and she doesn't really want to reconcile, and he's given up.
Today, Eric is making his way back to Hollywood. In his latest effort, Heaven's Prisoners, Eric plays an eccentric multi-millionaire, a guy you wouldn't want to meet up with in a dark alley.
And from what I hear, he don't put stitches in people's head, he smokes them. And this boy, too, she's some kind of psycho Zulu, likes to torch people, take pictures of it. Forget it, clowns, Dave. Good for nothing. Eat some shrimp.
From the big screen to the small screen,
I can hear your thoughts, Doctor.
Doctor Who is just the beginning. He is shooting an upcoming detective series set in New Orleans, and you will be able to see it right here on Fox.
Cool, huh?
Tony Potts, Fox News.
Eric's new movie, Heaven's Prisoners, hits the theaters on Friday. It also stars Alec Baldwin and Terry Hatcher.
All right, O.J. at Oxford. I bet you never expected to hear that. Coming up, the Jew says he's seen the light. O.J. and the Bible. Up next.
Plus, is this it for the Knicks? Do or die in Chicago? Kurt's got sports when the 10 o'clock news returns.
Wednesday, the two hottest addresses in town are back-to-back. First, if Donna thought her boyfriend had a surprise.
Will you marry me?
Wait till her old flame shows up.
Hi, Donna.
Jamie Walters guest stars on a brand new 90210. Then, on a special day and time, see why the women of Melrose Place
You are going to help me kill Richard.
have never been more dangerous.
90210 in Melrose Place, tomorrow beginning at 8 on Fox 5.
In the great tradition of the U.S. Olympic team come two great new automobiles filled with winning spirit and crafted with pride. Introducing the 1996 U.S. Olympic Gold Skylark and U.S. Olympic Gold Regal by Buick. Specially equipped and featuring distinctive gold trim, gold wheels, and Buick's winning reputation for comfort and quality. Put a special edition U.S. Olympic Gold Skylark or U.S. Olympic Gold Regal in your driveway today.
Look, in the mirror, it's a bird. It's a plane. Well, it's America's Funniest Home Videos.
Tomorrow at 6 on Fox 5.
The fastest growing maker of digital color copiers is Ricoh, because our color copiers are faster and because our grass is always greener. Our red slicker, quicker. And since all our colors make a bigger splash, Ricoh Color with Ricoh's digital technology can make your company look like a bigger fish, soar above the crowd, wake everybody up. The name to know, Ricoh.
The news is brought to you by Isuzu, makers of incredible four-wheel drives.
Every year, we show you how the Isuzu Trooper is built to handle whatever life throws in your path. Over the years, we've refined the Trooper to make it even tougher and added new equipment to deal with fresh hazards. Well, after all these years of adding stuff to the Trooper, we thought it was time to take a little something off it. The price. Right now, you can get some of the best prices of the year during the greatest Isuzu clearance event. We didn't think you'd mind.
Doc Gooden pitched a no-hitter. Just happened. Kurt will be along to have all the ins and outs for you in just a couple of minutes. Right now, we're going to talk about O.J. Simpson. He is still trying to clear his name. He's in England now. He told the Oxford Debating Club he discovered a new religious faith since he was found not guilty of killing Nicole and Ron Brown. He called the press racist, promised again to find the real killers. One woman was kicked out for heckling him. They usually allow cameras in these things, but not this time. O.J. wouldn't permit it. And Melanie Griffith and Antonio Banderas are also in London. They're honeymooning. They got married today in a short civil ceremony at London's Westminster office. A friend says they wanted to get married without any fuss. It's nice they got married. Melanie's expecting his child in September.
That's great. Well, Nick has been laboring over his weather forecast. Has spring sprung yet, Nick?
I have. Yes, I've been working very hard, Rosanna.
And spring has definitely sprung in some parts of the country, but not here. We are still stuck in what would feel almost like fall out there. Temperatures today struggling to get into the low 60s in many areas, and the satellite picture showing you that cool air still sitting on top of us with the clear skies. The warm air trying to push northward, and it's kicking off some thunderstorms. But will it get here? Well, let's discuss this in our forecast. Right now in New York City, we'll talk about the high. Only 63, normally should be about 72. The low 43, so we didn't get to the record of 40. Close, actually. Bridgeport did break a record in our area. They were down to 37. And the record high for today was 88 in 1900. Right now in New York City, the sky is still clear. 53 degrees, a dry dew point at 34, so the humidity is low, 48%. Gusty southwesterly wind, about 17 miles per hour. The barometer strong, and it's still rising. So we're going to hold on to some nice weather for just a little bit longer anyway. All right, let's go and check out the satellite picture here. It's going to go into motion. You can see we're clear now, but again, watch these clouds sort of advancing from the Great Lakes. They're essentially high clouds, so we're not really looking at a lot of problems from them as we go into our forecast for the next 24 hours or so. But as we go down the road, you'll see that there will be some problems in our forecast, and actually we have little problems with our lovely computer graphics system here now. Let me try one more button here. Let's see if that's going to work. And actually, my button's on the other side. Where is it? Here we go. We'll get it right here. I'm dancing, I'm chasing, and I'm dancing, and you know what? It's right over here, and that's not working. So we're going to have to sort of abandon this approach and tell you that these showers and thunderstorms that you see here, eventually this area of cloud cover and rain will be coming right across the Great Lakes in the Ohio Valley and probably messing up our weather late tomorrow night and on Thursday, and then things will be improving a little bit after that. So nice tomorrow as we see just high clouds blotting out the sun a little bit, and then the rain coming in for Thursday, but temperatures will still be on the cool side. All right, let's go and check out the all-important 5-day forecast because you'll like some of the information that's on there as we show you a high tomorrow 65 after tomorrow morning's low of 47. The rain will be here again after midnight, Wednesday night into Thursday, and the rain continues off and on, but only 58 on Thursday. And that could even linger in the form of a couple of showers on Friday, about 65 degrees, a morning low 54, and a little sun will get through. And we're looking for sunshine for Saturday. That looks like the best day of the weekend, 71. Maybe thunderstorms are turning late on Sunday. That's our weather tonight. Now over to Kurt and John.
Alrighty, thank you, sir. Jim Abbott was the last one to do it in 93. Tonight, the Doc.
Man, you know your history there, huh?
Isn't that fantastic?
I think this kind of completes the comeback, at least in his heart.
I love it.
The last time the Yanks and Mariners were together, well, it was Ken Griffey Jr. scoring the run that would end Buck Showalter's managing career here. But we started another one tonight because Dwight Gooden was the star of the game as the Yankees took on the Mariners out at the stadium. There he strikes out Griffey to end the 8th. One of 5 Ks on the night for Mr. Gooden. Once again, he was a star. This, another strikeout. He had 5 on the night, had a no-hitter going into the 9th, got a couple of good plays there, and then to end the game, Paul Sorrento pops up at shortstop. Derek Jeter closes the glove, and that is a no-hitter, folks. It is the first Yankee no-hitter, as John said, since 1993 when Jim Abbott did it in September of that year. Also last week, Al Leiter had a no-hitter going for the Florida Marlins as they took care of Colorado. So Gooden's no-hitter, the second one going in all of Major League Baseball this year. Obviously his first ever. He had a one-hitter back his rookie season, September of that year, the closest he ever came to getting a no-no at all. But he does complete it tonight, getting the no-hitter against the Seattle Mariners. Oh, by the way, Yankees won the game 2-0. Mets early on against San Diego right now, and that is scoreless in the first. On to the expected big story of the night. One loss away from the elimination. This is not the look you want to see on the face of Patrick Ewing, is it, tonight in Chicago? Well, you understand why when you see the end of the first half. Bulls got an 8-0 run to end the half. Jordan with a jam. They lead the Knicks 42-36 at the break. Third quarter, the Knicks try and keep that distance. Ewing gets the finger roll over Bill Wennington. 49-42 Bulls at that point. But Chicago goes up by 11 later. Jordan with the fade away, 54-43. Once again, offensive rebounding the key for Chicago as they kill the Knicks on the board. Wennington with a flip shot over. It counts. Right now they lead at 83-70 in the fourth. And at halftime of the other NBA game, Utah trails San Antonio 45-35. Jazz still lead the series 3-1. All right, place your bets right now when Magic Johnson is coming back out of retirement. He's retired for the 3rd time in 4 years, 4th if you count when he quit as coach. Yeah, he says he's quitting the NBA because he wants to leave on his own terms and needs to return to his private business. And for his part in instigating that big brawl on Saturday night, Mets pitcher Pete Harnisch has been suspended by Major League Baseball 8 days. He is appealing. Tonight in the NHL playoffs, Philadelphia and Florida. Florida leads that game 1-0 early on. And Green Bay quarterback Brett Favre announced today that he voluntarily entered the NFL substance abuse program because he's afraid he's developed an addiction to painkiller. He says all the times he's been beat up and has had 4 operations, He's had to take the pain-killing drugs, and he's afraid that he's become addicted to it, so he checked himself in, and all he will do right now is be required to have urinalysis, I guess is probably the best way to say it. But the big story, obviously, a guy who had substance abuse problems himself, Dwight Gooden, coming back with the Yankees. Everybody questioned it when they signed him. He started off in the spring, he looked terrible. The beginning of the season, his ERA was around 11, and he comes up, gets the no-hitter tonight, and Yankees win.
Ah, fantastic. Couldn't be better. All right, thanks, Kurt. And that's our report, but listen, don't go anywhere. We're coming back with a special report, Navigating New York.
Some other working titles were New York, You Can't Get There From Here, and New York, Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. You get the picture.
Yeah, we'll be back before you can say detour.
The news is brought to you by the all-new Eclipse Spider convertible. It's fun you can depend on from Mitsubishi.
Just what you need from the coupe that takes your breath away. More oxygen. Introducing the all-new Mitsubishi Eclipse convertible. It has quite an effect on drivers, too. The new Eclipse convertible from Mitsubishi.
What is the Home Depot's low price guarantee?
Any competitor's ad is our ad.
You bring in a sale price from any other company, any other store.
We meet it and then we beat it.
We've just saved you money.
That's not a gimmick, it's not a game.
We check to make sure that we are the low price.
You don't have to wait for a sale. You can do the practice when you're ready.
Why should you go anywhere else but Home Depot?
The Home Depot, proud sponsor of the 1996 Olympic Games. Why pay more for ensured fade and stain resistance when you can use Dutch Boy paints? They're at the guaranteed low price every day at the Home Depot.
Bryant dealer to the rescue and get Bryant's quiet 2-speed plus air conditioner. Its lower speed can lower cooling bills up to 60%. Call Bryant to the rescue. 1-800-HOT-SAVE.
On May 22nd, it will be impossible to catch your breath, to keep your cool, to believe your eyes. Mission Impossible, rated PG-13, everywhere. May 22nd.
Evian. Every day is a chance to feel healthy.
Welcome to New York, Brake Light City. Did you take the Long Island Distressway, or did you park on the Grand Central Parkway? The subway should be back on track soon, or you could try a submarine to get through that water main break. This is a Fox 5 special report, Navigating the City.
Hello again. No, you're not getting crazy. It is getting tougher to getting around our city.
But we have a special to help you navigate New York and look at what's causing all the problems. Traffic tie-ups are building. All the construction projects seem to go on forever, and you could wait forever to get through. Anita Padilla looks at the building problems.
Daytime, nighttime, all around the town, construction projects are bringing motorists down.
I think it's a pain in the butt.
It's a pain in the butt. It sucks.
Damn this traffic jam. How I hate to be late.
Getting to and from Manhattan can also be frustrating. Just ask the man who coined the phrase gridlock.
Almost every major river crossing, major expressways are either undergoing reconstruction, have lanes closed due to emergency structural reasons, or are about to be closed down.
Topping Gridlock Sam's list, the Manhattan Bridge, under renovation for more than a decade, the Williamsburg Bridge, where the outer road is closed, and truck traffic is diverted to the Queens Midtown Tunnel, which is also under construction, and the Deegan Expressway at Fordham Road.
There are multiple bridges there, there are multiple jurisdictions, and when you put that together, people point in different directions.
Yeah, there are some delays in the area, but right now it's not that significant. We just wanted to get the word out early to you.
So who's keeping track? Transcom, for one. It's a clearinghouse that helps coordinate road projects through hundreds of government agencies throughout the tri-state area. More than half of those works affect New York City.
Hundreds of different things that we're dealing with, from construction projects to accidents to special events that may be going on. They all have some sort of an impact on the transportation network.
Transcom helps cut through some of the bureaucracy that slows construction.
By bringing all the agencies together, they all understand that it's in their best interest, as well as the public's best interest, to minimize conflicts.
It helps, but how bad are the tie-ups?
We do somehow manage to get about 5 million people in and out of the major commercial areas of the city every single day. And most of them make it in, and most of them make it back home at the end of the day.
A senior fellow at Manhattan Institute, Peter Salins, also says the current administration is making a difference.
The road system has been dramatically transformed. I think that they've repaved hundreds of miles of roadways. The maintenance of the roads is much better. The cleanliness of the roads is much better.
But at least one man is skeptical.
We're beginning to see the work. The city is responding, but it's going to take a long time to catch up. Certainly not in this millennium, perhaps in the next one.
I'm Anita Padilla, Fox News.
Some other fun facts about our bridges and tunnels. The George Washington is the busiest bridge in the world, and the Brooklyn Battery Tunnel is the longest continuous underwater tunnel in North America.
Well, it's not a heck of a lot easier getting around underground either. Linda Schmidt checked out the trouble down under.
It's amazing to think the subway system transports 3.5 million riders a day, making 6,000 train trips.
Well, I wanted to experience firsthand what the commuters go through every day during rush hour, so we came down here to Wall Street. So come on in, we're going to take the ride together. What do you think about the system overall?
I think it's okay. Sometimes the trains are slow and it's crowded.
It's the best way to get where you have to go quickly.
Overall, I think it's really good.
I think it's overcrowded. It breaks down too much.
All right, so we know the system isn't perfect. Take the Metro card, one of the transit authority's answers to eliminating token booth clerks and saving money while reducing long lines. However, critics say once the $700 million system is completed, it'll be unsuccessful.
There's no doubt that it will be a failure unless the transit authority comes through with monthly passes.
Then there are the crises. Last June, a motorman runs a red light, crashing, killing himself. And 2 weeks ago, commuters were stuck on a subway train for hours. It was mass confusion after a train ran over an umbrella, causing a fire.
If you look at the transit authority's recent record, it gives you pause. It makes you skeptical about whether they're going to be able to pull off having one-person train operation and whether they respond to emergencies as well and as quickly as they should.
We set up a 24-hour emergency unit here that would have those direct communications so that when there's an incident, whether it starts as a small incident or it starts a big incident, we and the city agencies can respond very, very effectively.
The TA says its overall record shows the system is operating more efficiently. During the early 1980s, there was a derailment every 17 days. Last year, it was just 2. So far this year, the same. In the early 80s, a subway car traveled just 8,000 miles before experiencing mechanical troubles. Now it's 60,000 miles before there's even a problem. The TA is also searching for ways to alleviate congestion on the Upper East Side. One proposal, continue building the 2nd Avenue subway line abandoned during the 1970s. A lack of money shut down the project after some of this tunneling was already constructed. But the projected cost, $3 to $10 billion, could end up postponing the project yet once again. Linda Schmidt, Fox News.
And the Port Authority is also proposing rail service from Manhattan to JFK. However, in a political battle of some kind with the mayor over this, he's got his own ideas about that.
So what do you think, John? Which is faster during rush hour, the car or the train?
Well, Christopher Jones hopped on the railroad. Mario Bosquez drove. Who made it from Bayshore to Manhattan first? The Great Race coming up. Steve.
John, how does one get around New York without getting all wet? Well, that's no mean feat when you consider that we have hundreds of water main breaks every year. We'll have that story coming up when Navigating New York continues.
The news is brought to you by MCI World for citizens of the world.
Now you don't have to wait to save on international calls. With MCI World Savings, you're guaranteed one low rate, 24 hours a day to each country when you call any number you've selected. Places like Japan, France, the United Kingdom, and Mexico City. That's MCI's lowest rate day or night. So no matter where you call, you always save over AT&T. Call 1-800-999-4400 to join. MCI World, for citizens of the world.
The National Jeep Sale is back. Your opportunity to get a great deal on one of America's legendary adventure vehicles. Lease the award-winning Jeep Grand Cherokee Laredo for $0 down and just $329 a month. Or a Jeep Cherokee Sport for $0 down and only $269 a month with no charge air. And check out the all-new fun-loving 97 Wrangler. But you must see your dealer now, because something this exciting will be over before you know it.
Now get a great lease deal during the National Jeep Sale.
It was Tuesday. Mr. Green was taking his usual walk. Skippy was making his usual stops. He had much on his mind. Suddenly, two strangers. We just come here from another place, and we want to make a better life. Can you show us the way? Mr. Green showed them a sign. Many people find a mortgage here when other banks say no. The people were full of happiness. Skippy also rejoiced.
Boston Market announces the $5 Boston Carver combo. A Boston Carver, side, and regular soft drink for $5. Hurry in for any of our hot hand-carved sandwiches, any one of our freshly prepared sides, and a regular soft drink for just $5. The $5 Boston Carver combo, only at Boston Market for a limited time. Carving out a better sandwich.
Introducing a very special automobile. Being built in limited numbers doesn't make it special, nor the fact it's available for a limited time. Even adding air conditioning, automatic transmission, and AM/FM stereo isn't that unusual. But when all this describes a Honda Accord at $17,390, nice. Special sounds downright inadequate.
All right, so if you can't use your car, how about a boat? These days, it is often water everywhere after water mains under there have been popping, but why so many? Steve Coleman is at the spot of one of the biggest breaks lately, the one at 40th and Broadway. Steve?
John, good evening again. You know, New York's water main breaks are getting to be a bit like Old Faithful, if not in frequency, then certainly in predictability. And small wonder when you consider that some of the oldest water pipes in the country are right beneath our feet. At Times Square, this is most definitely a sign of the times. A construction crew busy replacing a section of water main that burst on May 4th, flooding streets and stores for blocks and shutting down a major arm of the city's subway. It wasn't the first time a main burst in this area. It certainly won't be the last.
I was here last summer when this pipe broke in the street, and it was the same kind of thing where buyers were fearful to come into the neighborhood because of the construction and the workers and the bulldozers and whatnot.
Veteran New Yorkers know that this comes with the territory, but the fact is, more than half of the 6,000 miles of water main running beneath the city was installed before 1940, and about 7% of the system is over a century old. Begging the question, is New York fighting a losing battle with its water delivery infrastructure?
I wouldn't want to go on record saying that, but being that it happened here before, that's why we're doing this whole block. We feel that this pipe is, ready to go, so we're just changing it.
Those changes have put a damper on the way many New Yorkers do business. In Times Square, Cosmetics Plus lost thousands of dollars in flooded merchandise and untold customers.
All of a sudden, the street kind of exploded, and everyone is really panicking, and they just ran out of the store. We had to close down.
But when it comes to the system at large, closing down the city that never sleeps just isn't an option.
If we compare New York to the major world cities, in the modern countries, in Japan and in Western Europe, I think we're probably a little bit behind the curve.
The work in Times Square is moving right on schedule, but with an average of 550 water main breaks every year, age and the environment are clearly taking their toll on the unseen miles below the city.
It's scary because all these buildings were built after this whole situation. The plumbing and the pipe were put in. So now all this weight and the traffic and the trucks, every day it rumbles across 40th Street, and there goes another pipe.
But some of the experts we talked to point out that when you consider the sheer scale of New York, it's a wonder it works at all. Any doubt of that, just go into the kitchen and turn on the tap. Reporting live in Times Square, I'm Steve Coleman for Navigating New York. John, back to you.
All right, you got a point there, Steve. One of the problems with the work in Times Square, it's being slowed down a little bit. The workers there have to do a lot of the digging by hand because there are so many other pipes there from steam and electric lines. All right, so I'll bet you want some answers, right?
Like, why do all these construction projects take place at the same time? We'll get some answers up next.
Only in the air, it's also on the ground. Lease the Maxima GXE with automatic transmission for 0 down and $299 a month for 38 months. Love is in the air. The Maxima from Nissan. Love is in the air.
Oops. World-class soccer comes to Giant Stadium. Tickets on sale now. The Metro Stars. Soccer's the game.
My home is my castle.
But we can't afford to protect it with a moat.
Moat?
With alligators.
2 kids, a dog, now alligators?
With a Sloman security system, you won't need a moat or alligators. Call 1-800-ALARM-ME. The system and installation are absolutely free.
Sloman's protects our home like it is a castle.
And now we can finally afford a security system. Because it's free.
Call 1-800-ALARM-ME.
Sloman's, the best way to say security.
Runner, a teacher, a worker, a lover, around and round, both day and night.
Save at Rite Aid on Clairol Nice and Easy Hair Color, just $3.29 after United rebate. Gillette Sensor Excel Razor or Sensor Cartridge Refill, $3.99. And the Revlon Color Stay Collection, 25% off our everyday low price. For your life, Rite Aid's got it.
In this life you need it all.
Get this, she wants to change her name from Heather to Feather. She's very picky about her food.
Fried